Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. Standing in front of Jenna, my heart raced. Jenna, with her playful grin, had just laid out a challenge that seemed both thrilling and terrifying. I dare you to spend a whole day as a woman. 24 hours, no breaks, she said. Kevin, had never thought I'd get a chance like this. At first, I hesitated. This was more than just trying on a few clothes in private. It meant stepping into the world as someone entirely new as Cindy. But the idea, wild as it was, appealed to me in a way I couldn't ignore. Jenna knew about my secret interest in cross-dressing, but this was taking it to a whole new level. After some thought, I agreed. Jenna clapped her hands in excitement. "This is going to be so much fun!" she exclaimed. I wasn't sure if I shared her level of enthusiasm, but I was committed now. The transformation began that evening at my apartment. Jenna brought over a bag full of clothes and accessories. My hands trembled slightly as I rifled through the items: dresses, skirts, blouses, and more. Then my eyes landed on a dress that seemed perfect. It was a soft pastel green, knee-length with a floral pattern. It looked gentle and inviting, a stark contrast to my usual attire. Next were the undergarments. Jenna handed me a set of panties and a bra filled with padding to give the illusion of a feminine figure. I felt a strange mix of discomfort and curiosity as I put them on. It was unfamiliar, yet part of me felt an odd sense of rightness. Jenna then guided me through the process of choosing accessories: a simple necklace, a pair of modest earrings, and a delicate bracelet. Each piece felt like a step further into Cindy's world. The biggest challenge was makeup. Jenna was patient, showing me how to apply foundation, blush, eyeshadow, and lipstick. Each brushstroke seemed to paint away Kevin and bring Cindy to life. The transformation was both physical and emotional, as if I was seeing a part of myself that had been hidden away. Finally, it was time for the wig. Jenna had chosen a blonde wig, long and slightly wavy. When I put it on, I hardly recognized the person staring back at me in the mirror. There was Kevin's face, but it was different, softer, more feminine. Cindy was no longer just a figment of my imagination. She was real, and she was me. Standing there, fully dressed, I felt a whirlwind of emotions. Nervousness was there, yes, but also a kind of excitement I hadn't anticipated. It was like stepping onto a stage, playing a role I had always wanted to try, but never had the courage to. Jenna's voice brought me back to reality. "You look amazing, Cindy," she said, smiling. Her words offered comfort, a recognition of the effort and the transformation that had just taken place. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my racing heart. Cindy had a full day ahead of her, and it was time to face it. I looked at Jenna, nodding. "Let's do this," I said, my voice a mix of Kevin's depth and Cindy's newfound softness. As the night set in, I knew the real challenge would start with the sunrise. The outside world was different, unpredictable, but there was no turning back now. The challenge had been set, and Cindy was ready to meet it. Jenna left, and I was alone, standing in my living room, dressed as Cindy. The clock ticked towards midnight, marking the start of the 24-hour journey. I looked around, everything familiar yet seen through a new lens. The night was quiet, a calm before the storm of the day to come. I tried to sleep, but rest was elusive. My mind raced with thoughts of what the next day would bring. Would people notice? Would they see Cindy? Or would they see through the disguise to Kevin? There was only one way to find out. The morning sun was shining as I, now Cindy, stepped outside. I felt the sun on my face and a cool breeze. It was strange and new to feel the breeze on my legs under the dress. I walked down the street, my heart beating fast. I chose simple flats for shoes, knowing I'd be walking a lot. They clicked softly on the sidewalk. The dress swayed gently with each step, a feeling I wasn't used to but found oddly comforting. My first stop was a small cafe. I had been there many times as Kevin, but today, as Cindy, it felt like a whole new place. I opened the door, the little bell ringing. Inside, the smell of coffee was strong and welcoming. I walked to the counter, feeling eyes on me. I ordered a coffee, my voice higher than usual. The person at the counter smiled and gave me my coffee. I thanked them and found a seat by the window. Sitting there, sipping coffee, I watched people walking by. No one seemed to notice anything unusual about me, which made me feel relieved, but also invisible in a way. After the cafe, I decided to walk in the park. The park was full of people, families, joggers, and people walking their dogs. I found a quiet bench and sat down, watching the world go by. Kids played on the swings and birds chirped in the trees. It was peaceful. As I sat there, I thought about how different everything felt. The dress, the makeup, the wig, they all made me feel like I was someone else. Yet, deep down, I was still me, Kevin, but also Cindy. It was confusing, but also exciting. After some time, I got up and continued my walk. I passed by shops and people, each step feeling more confident. I even stopped at a store to look at clothes. I browsed through the racks, touching the fabrics. The colors and styles were so different from what I usually wore. It was like exploring a new world. Then I saw a necklace that caught my eye. It was simple but pretty. I decided to buy it. At the counter, I paid for it, my hands slightly shaking. But the person there just smiled and handed me the bag. With the new necklace in my bag, I left the store and kept walking. The city was busy, but I felt like I was in my own little bubble. People passed by, lost in their own thoughts and lives. Lunchtime came, and I found a small diner. I ordered a sandwich and ate quietly, watching the other customers. Some were talking, some were on their phones, and some were just eating, like me. It felt normal, yet everything was so different. After lunch, I walked back to the park. I found a different bench and sat down, just enjoying the moment. The sun was warm and the sky was clear. I closed my eyes for a moment, feeling the sun on my face. As I sat there, I thought about Jenna and the challenge. It had seemed so scary at first, but now I was doing it. I was Cindy, and it felt okay. It was more than okay. It was a new experience, something I had never thought I would do. The day went on, and I kept walking, exploring the city as Cindy. I saw so many things, tall buildings, busy streets, and quiet alleys. The city was the same, but I was different. As the afternoon turned into evening, I realized I had been walking for hours. My feet were a little sore, but I didn't mind. It was part of the experience, part of being Cindy for a day. Finally, as the sun began to set, I started heading back home. The streets were quieter now, and the sky was turning pink and orange. It was beautiful. I walked past a small bookstore. The lights inside were soft and inviting. I had always loved books, so I decided to go in. As I entered, the bell above the door rang softly. The store was cozy, with shelves full of books and a few people browsing. I walked around, looking at the books. It was nice to be in a place where I could just be myself, or rather be Cindy without worrying about what others thought. I picked up a book about adventure and sat down in a corner to read a few pages. After a while, I put the book back and walked towards the exit. The person at the counter smiled at me. "Have a nice evening," they said. I smiled back and left the store, feeling a bit more confident. As I continued my walk, I passed by a small park. There were a few people sitting on benches, some walking their dogs, and some just enjoying the evening. I found an empty bench and sat down, watching the people and the stars. Sitting there, I thought about how different this day had been. As Cindy, I had done things I never would have done as Kevin. I had walked through the city, visited a cafe, browsed in a store, and now I was sitting in a park under the stars. It was all so simple, yet so new and exciting. After a while, I got up and started walking back home. The streets were almost empty now, and the city felt peaceful. I walked slowly, enjoying the quiet and the cool night air. When I finally got home, I was tired but happy. I had spent the whole day as Cindy, and it had been an amazing experience. I'd seen the city in a new light, met new people, and done new things. I went inside and looked at myself in the mirror. Cindy was still there, looking back at me. But now it was time to say goodbye to Cindy, at least for tonight. I carefully took off the dress, the undergarments, the wig, and the makeup. It felt strange to be Kevin again, like I was leaving a part of myself behind. but I knew that Cindy would always be a part of me no matter what. As I got ready for bed, I thought about the day. It had been full of new experiences and new feelings. I had learned a lot about myself and about the world around me. The next morning, I woke up feeling different. After a whole day, as Cindy, being Kevin again, felt a bit strange. I had breakfast and got ready for the day. As I was about to leave the house, I remembered Jenna's challenge. I still had a few more hours to go as Cindy, so I decided to transform into Cindy once again. I put on the dress, the undergarments, the wig, and the makeup. Looking in the mirror, Cindy was back. I felt a mix of nerves and excitement, just like the day before. Today, I was going to a mall I knew well. It was a big place with lots of shops and people. As I walked through the mall, I saw all kinds of shops: clothes, shoes, toys, and more. I walked past a toy store and saw kids looking at toys, their faces full of excitement. I smiled, remembering how much I loved toys when I was younger. Then I decided to get a snack. I found a small cafe in the mall and ordered a cookie and a juice. Sitting there, eating my snack, I watched people walking by. Some were shopping, some were talking, and some were just enjoying their day. After my snack, I walked around the mall some more. I passed by a clothing store and decided to go in. Inside, there were so many clothes, dresses, shirts, pants, and more. I browsed through the racks, touching the fabrics and looking at the colors. As I was looking at a pretty skirt, I heard a voice that made my heart stop. It was a group of my friends from school. They were in the store, laughing and talking. I turned around, trying to hide my face. I didn't want them to see me as Cindy. I was scared they would laugh at me or not understand. I quickly left the store and walked fast, trying to get away. I could hear their voices behind me, but they didn't seem to notice me. I felt relieved, but also a bit sad. I wished I could be myself, both Kevin and Cindy, without being scared. I walked around the mall a bit more, trying to calm down. Then I saw a small jewelry store. I went in and looked at the pretty necklaces and bracelets. The person at the counter smiled at me and asked if I needed help. I shook my head, just looking. After leaving the jewelry store, I realized it was almost time to go home. The challenge was almost over. I felt a mix of happiness and sadness. I was glad I had done it, but I also didn't want it to end. As I walked out of the mall, I thought about the day. It had been scary at times, but also fun and exciting. I had done things I never thought I would do as Cindy. When I got home, I looked at myself in the mirror again. Cindy was still there, but soon she would be gone. I took off the dress, the undergarments, the wig, and the makeup. Being Kevin again felt normal, but also a bit empty. As I sat in my room, I decided to call Jenna. I wanted to thank her for the challenge. When she answered, I said, "Thank you, Jenna. This challenge, it meant a lot to me." Jenna was happy to hear that. "I'm glad you enjoyed it," she said. "You were a great Cindy." After the call, I sat quietly for a while, thinking about everything. I thought about how Cindy had felt free in some ways, exploring the world with new eyes. But I also thought about how Kevin had his own strengths and joys. Lying in bed, I closed my eyes, thinking about the future. Cindy would come back, maybe for another challenge or just because I wanted to be her again. For now, though, I was Kevin, and that was okay too. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Patreon for a lot more content and early access to YouTube videos.